Barstool Sports founder Dave Portnoy recently played a $20,000 heads-up poker match. Dave rarely plays poker at all, so we're getting a glimpse into exactly how good is Dave Portnoy at poker. We're also going to look at how Barstool Nate played. Cliff notes, not good. Our first big hand of the match happens early with 9-4 offsuit for Dave and 6-2 suited for Nate. However, before we even look at this hand, we can tell from these chip stacks we have two very different types of players. Barstool Nate has neatly stacked chips in a $20,000 line, as many poker professionals would, whereas Dave has haphazard crazy chip stacks. This is usually the indicator of a loose, wild player, and frankly, that ended up seeming to be the case. Anyway, the flop comes 10-9-4 and Dave flops bottom to well in the lead here against Nate. Nate checks over to Dave, and now most recreational players rarely will trap. They usually will bet their strong hands and are too weak when they check back. So it's notable to see that Dave actually checks this flop back. Now, typically speaking, you want to just bet the flop with 9-4. Every now and then checking can be okay, but you can see the type of player that Dave is. He's planning out some hands for moves on later streets, and I do like to see when recreational players take these types of tricky lines. The turn's the 5 of clubs. Now Nate picks up a straight draw as well as a flush draw. He bets out $600. A little bit small here from Nate. I'd probably prefer to see a slightly larger size, but either way, $600 totally fine. Over to Dave now with his 2 pair. He can either call or raise. Certainly raising tends to be the better play, which is what Dave goes for. His size here is a little bit too small. He raises just the minimum, which prices in many hands to try and improve against your 2 pair. You definitely want to go more like $2,000 here when you raise, but nonetheless, I like the raise from Dave. The river comes a disaster 8 of clubs here, and once again, Nate checks over to Dave. A bit of a tricky spot now with 2 pair in Dave's shoes. You do probably want to go ahead and bet about 2/3 pot here with your 2 pair, but there are a lot of hands that have gotten there. Queen Jack has gotten there. 7-6, if your opponent had to call this min raise, got there. Maybe even Jack 7, given the very, very, very cheap price on the turn, as well as all of the flushes that your opponent can have, and some 2 pairs that your opponent's improved to, hands like 10-8, 9-8. These hands are ahead of you as well. So we're getting quite thin on the river, but I still do believe you want to bet this for about $2,000 or so. You can tell Dave feels this pressure as he bets only $1,000 on the river, and now Nate goes for the check raise to $3,500, a seemingly fine play from Nate here on the river. Typically speaking, when you have these 2 pairs without the club, you can go ahead and just fold. In fact, Dave Portnoy doesn't really have that many worse value hands than 9-4 here, so I actually would prefer to see him let this go. If he had a hand like 10-5 with a club, or 10-9 with a club, or aces with a club, or 8-5 with, there are other hands you could imagine that could potentially want to call here, but either way, he ends up making the call and getting shown the bad news. An early lead here for Barstool Nate, up to a 2-1 chip lead. If you're wondering why I'm qualified to break down this match, I've actually played in a variety of heads-up matches over my career, and I've also won 3 World Series of Poker bracelets, but I primarily have specialized in exactly this format, heads up no limit, so there's no one better to break it down than me. Our next big hand is a very similar scenario where Dave Portnoy has 5 deuce off, calls the flop bet, and turns 2 pair. Here he decides to lead when the flush completes. This is not a move you want to make. You want to check all your hands, but regardless, Dave does decide to bet. With a flush here for Nate, he can either call or raise. Both seem fine. I lean towards raise. When your opponent leads in this spot, there are lots of hands that would want to call raise, and your hand is pretty vulnerable if the board pairs or another diamond comes on the river. Anyway, Nate does decide to call. We take a river, and offsuit king doesn't change much, and Dave goes for this 1K bet. Dave frequently bets 1K in this match, kind of his go-to sizing, and he bets it once again. Now Nate raises the river immediately with a flush. This is 2 hands within 10 minutes where he has a flush and raises versus Dave's 2 pair. Certainly a cooler scenario, but this time back to Dave. Can he get away from his 2 pair?
This is the same exact hand we had before, Nate. The one you won the big one on before.
I don't think it's the same. What, with the
Dave's
clubs?
instincts are right.
Yeah.
It's not a single club out there.
Well, I'm referring to the diamonds. So you
Yeah.
had pocket diamonds, you little jerk. This is the same exact hand. You're not bluffing. I don't think you're like a real loose, risky player. So I think I'm beat here.
Spot on. Never heard anybody say that before. I mean, you would hate to slay down with the 2 pair.
Standing.
Saved himself $3,000.
Dave makes the fold. Nice maybe in-game reads or adjustments from Dave Portnoy, thinking his opponent wouldn't be bluffing in this spot again. Would he? It's hard to tell. Either way, a good laydown, and Dave is now a 3-1 underdog, but the match marches forward. At this point, with the cards against him, Dave takes it to the streets with one of the more aggressive bluffs I can remember seeing.
I might not even look.
So, on the YouTube channel, they did do a poll who you're rooting for. Dave comes in at 76%.
Okay.
7,000 votes.
You didn't look? You honestly didn't look?
Of course, I would have expected it to be over 80.
Viva.
Come on.
Oh, boy.
I'm gonna look now.
Yeah.
Nate was
Okay, that one's not great.
playing this blind, and Dave jams with king high.
It's actually a good hand, but nice hand.
Oh, my.
It's the whole tournament, Nate.
I mean, I didn't.
He's like, what's good?
Woo, Dave.
Okay then.
Dave's showing it, trying to get in his head.
I didn't have anything until you said you didn't look. I thought king high would be good.
This is crazy loose aggressive, and there were certainly better hands to bluff with, like queen 10 or 10-8 or 7-6, and you probably want to use a smaller size as well. But regardless, we see Dave going for it with a big bluff, getting it through and winning some chips back. There are two hands that are particularly confusing from this match. Extremely confusing. Like hands I've never seen in my life, and this next one is one of them.
Oh, carnage.
Nate is a decent one as well.
7.
Call.
Oh, that's a
Instead,
bad
it's another
card. That's a
nine.
really
Check.
bad card for Nate.
This is
Locks it
very
up for
hard for
Dave.
Nate to now want to get away.
River 6.
Me?
2,800 in the pot. How much does Dave go for here?
Getting my chips out.
Nate's trying to focus. Get after that.
Wait. Oh, no.
Was that a checker?
What did he do? What just happened?
What just happened?
Whatever.
I wanted you to bet. I was gonna call.
Oh, no, he had 3 9s.
It's fine. Yeah, I was hoping you were gonna bet.
What happened?
He just mucked 3 of a kind.
Wow.
After some pretty light action to a river with $2,800 in it, Dave open folds with 3 of a kind. This is about as bad a move as you can make as a poker player. There is no bet out there. You have an extremely strong hand. You could bet for value or you could check. If your opponent bet, you would at least call, maybe even raise. I mean, this is bad. This is like not knowing how to play poker level of bad. So we're seeing the full gauntlet here. We're seeing good laydowns, crazy bluffs, weird nonsensical laydowns. I mean, Dave Portnoy has had the full bag of tricks here out of the gate, but he still does have $11,000 in his stack. And if you want to play with players that are this bad, I know just the place to play, and I know exactly how to get there. For more information, check the pinned comment. The next big hand that happens is an open from Nate and a call from Dave as we see a king, queen, 10 flop, 2 clubs action board here with the flush draw for Portnoy and ace queen for second pair top kicker for Barstool Nate. Now we see the action kick off with Dave leading the flop for $500. Obviously, you should have no leads here. You want to check all your hands over to Nate. But either way, Dave decides to take the lead and bet the flop. Nate now makes the call. I love this call. And we take a turn. The queen of diamonds, a huge card for Barstool Nate as he moves solidly into the lead. Once again, Dave bets $500 on the turn. In this situation, as Nate, you almost always want to raise. You need to get value, build this pot, and give yourself a chance to stack Dave. And there are plenty of other hands you might want to bluff with as well. It's also not that likely your opponent has a good hand as they've bet $500 twice. Nate ends up just calling, so Dave does have a chance to get there if a club rolls off. And it does, rivering a flush now for Portnoy. He has the best hand. The question, how to play it. Does he want to go big for value? Does he want to go small for value? Well, kind of on brand for Dave Portnoy, he decides to go with just a $1,000 river bet. And now to Nate with 3 of a kind. Bit of a tough spot, whether you should call or raise. I see merit for both. He makes the call. Dave picks up a big pot and is almost back to even. This brings us to one of the worst hands I've ever seen anyone play, and it begins with pocket kings. Dave with king 9 on the button calls and then is up against pocket kings for Nate. Calls 1,000 total, so we have 2,000 in the pot as we take a flop. The flop comes 9-5-4-2 spades. Nate flops an overpair against Dave Portnoy's top pair second kicker. Dave is in rough shape here. Unless a 9 comes out, he will lose this hand. Question is, how much money is he going to lose? Nate bets $700 on the flop. That's a totally fine bet to bet small here. And now Dave decides to raise, which is actually a fine play here with top pair second kicker. It's pretty likely you're ahead. You knock out a bunch of hands your opponent might be bluffing with. So when you have top pair here, raising is definitely a reasonable option. Now for Nate with pocket kings, 2 ways to play this. You can decide to bet 3-bet the flop, meaning raise again here on the flop, making it 4,500 or something like that. Or you can decide to just call and slow down and play the turn. Nate does decide to call, and we take a turn.
Turn 10 of clubs.
Turn could slow Dave down here.
1,000.
Another 1K from Dave.
Nate's just worried about 2 pair.
Yeah,
but
it's-
your hand is way too good to fold. You just can't. Put the money in.
Yeah, I think he's just going to call.
The turn comes a 10. Nate checks once again, and now Dave continues to bet. 1,000 bucks to go here on the turn. This is too small of a bet for sure. You should just check back or bet larger in Dave's shoes, but either way, I don't mind either option. Back to Nate with kings. Clear cut, at least call with kings. You could argue to probably just raise here on the turn. It's very likely your opponent does not have a hand like 2 pair, because if Dave had a hand like 2 pair, he'd probably bet bigger and try and set up a river all in. That said, Nate might feel like Dave, because he's newer to poker, the bet doesn't mean as much as it might otherwise, so I don't hate the idea of calling, which Nate decides to do, and we take a river.
River 3, 7,400 now in the pot. Checks once more. How much from Dave this time? Might just stick to the 1K, huh?
Yeah, it's just
He
1K
thinks
at
he's
a
good.
time.
Insanity.
The river comes the offsuit 3. Nate checks, and Dave bets 1K, an incredibly small bet. And from here, just sit back and enjoy one of the worst poker plays of all time.
You're so confident in this. Flop a set?
I mean, Nate, it's 1K, man. There's 8,400 out there.
2 kings.
I mean, he's
Flop
never
a set
folded.
for
He's got to be Hollywood in here.
Just trying to think like what you would realistically bet.
Surprised. It seems like at no
Or, like,
point
raise
Nate wanted
bet.
to put any more money in.
No,
Easier for us to
he's-
say to see a
No
card.
way I'm good here.
He's playing so defensive.
Yeah. There's no way he's good. I mean, this fold. This
He's not folding.
This.
I refuse to even consider that he's actually considered folding.
If he folds, this is one of the worst folds I've ever seen in my life. That's the worst.
How? How'd you... And Dave takes the lead.
It's the worst fold in the
Chat
history
is gonna
of
eat
poker.
that one up, Austin.
He just folds 2 kings.
It's the worst thing I've ever witnessed.
And we saw Dave open fold trips.
Fuck me.
You know a hand is bad when Jeff Platt is roasting you on Twitter. This fold is completely inexcusable. You have an overpair, it's 1/7 pot. I don't know what you're seeing, monsters in the closet. This is a crazy, terrible, awful fold. I cannot reiterate that. I mean, it's just one of the worst folds of all time. We've seen some bad folds over the years. This one just takes the cake. You're getting 7-1 versus an amateur player who's bet really small on every street with an overpair. It blows my mind. And if you want to learn how to not play like a dumbass, Upswing Poker is proud to announce Lab 2.0. The Upswing revamped lab launches on September 8th. Head on down and check it out for a new Upswing Poker lab experience. We're getting down to the nitty gritty here as both players are pretty much deadlocked, and we see once again a big pot develop between both of them, where we see top pair for Nate with Queen Jack up against 7-4 for Dave Portnoy for just middle pair low kicker. Nate makes the call. We take a turn. The 10 of hearts, 2 flush draws now, and Dave just goes all in. A gigantic overbet. The second time we've seen that with a relatively weak hand here from Dave, and now Nate in a terrible spot with top pair, but there were so many draws. I can't fold Nate for folding this one. It's a giant overbet, so I don't hate it. That said, I also don't mind the idea of a call here given the number of draws on the table. Let's see if Nate can find the right call.
Nate, find the call.
The issue is, this is real. I have no problem sitting here all day, and you do. So even if I have the better hand, like, it just doesn't make sense for me to call and gamble.
Oh, if you think you're a significant favorite, surely it
I
does.
assume you have me covered. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14,
Barely.
15.
It's one card to
Anything
come.
covered. There's just no reason for me to just, like...
Yeah, it's to win, Nate.
There's a huge reason.
That's the reason you're here, to win. 90% favorite.
There's
the
just no
action.
reason for me to gamble here.
Oh, dear. That's what we're here to gamble. Again. He could have won, and he just throws away a winner.
Again, Nate.
You would have won.
I would have won.
Folds top pair.
At
As
this
we remind
point,
you,
it's embarrassing.
After an incorrect laydown, a few more hands go Dave's way, and we can see Dave now has Nate on the ropes. We see Dave electing to take a flop here with the 5-4 offsuit up against ace-9 for Nate. Ace 7-6 on the flop. Both players get there. Nate with the top pair, Dave with the open-ended straight draw. After a check bet call on the flop, we see the 3 of diamonds roll off. The stone cold nuts for Dave Portnoy up against Nate's top pair. He's short stacked, and at this point, it's going to be tough for Nate to get away.
Portnoy turns a straight. Nate just has 5K left behind.
This could be it. Dave can KO him with the nuts.
12.
A glance back at the goods.
Raise 1,000. So 22 total.
Well, you have to make at least 24. You have to at least double it.
Okay, so 24.
Makes it 2,400.
24.
Nate can't win. This is it.
All in.
Everything has collapsed.
It's over.
That's it.
That's it. It's over.
Dave
It's
says
over.
call.
What's that?
Straight?
So what are you going to do?
What?
What are you
He
gonna
has
do?
the nuts.
He calls.
He calls. It's over.
Yeah, I'm calling it.
A dominant
Good game.
performance by Dave Portnoy. Just crushes Barstool Nate down the stretch
Good game, Nate.
and wins King of the Felt.
20K.
Dave versus Nate.
As the match comes to a close, we have a post-game interview. Let's check it out.
The boss man is taking down Nate.
Killed him, which I knew would happen. He plays a lot of poker. I've played twice in 15 years. I tried to tell him I didn't want this. I didn't want the match. I don't even want his money, to be honest, Mitzi. I said, but you have to take it. As a man of honor, you have to take the money. I tried to offer him an out when it was looking ugly. I said, just admit you lost. I won't take your money. We are going to go bet this on either one spin roulette or one-handed blackjack. If I win it, I get the money that I win, and he'll get his money back, because I really don't want to take his money. Sometimes you have to teach people a lesson, and that's what I had to come here to do.
And a lesson was certainly taught. A lesson in leading, big folds, and bad play? Unclear. It is very kind of Dave here, though, to give him a shot at his money back if they go gamble and double it up. So, in a way, for Nate, pretty great opportunity. If you win, you double up, and if you lose, you get this free roll back. So, actually pretty kind from Dave Portnoy here to give Nate this opportunity to win the money back.
Listen, I knew the result walking in here. I knew there was no way he was going to beat me. So I'm not even going to brag about it.
That's not true.
I knew it. I knew it. And he still says, by the way, I'm exactly what he thought I was going to be as a poker player, which is not very good. So that means he's terrible. We got guys in the office sponsoring this guy in Vegas. That should be a crime that he's taking those people's money. Maybe I should do that.
I don't know if Nate sells tournament action, but after that point from Dave, it's going to be a tough one. So what were my big takeaways here about Dave Portnoy's poker game? He's clearly a very, very, very novice player. He says he's played twice in 15 years. He checks too weak. He leads too many strong hands. He doesn't really understand pot size. I mean, the guy is just very, very, very novice at poker. So there are no big takeaways here other than Dave Portnoy is not good at poker. That simple.